Hey guys, what's up? Absolutely Beast bringing you a video today kind of about the Forza 7 multiplayer. Just sort of my thoughts and my expectations, I guess. Not in a way like, oh, it's going to have this, it's going to have that, I think it should have this. Just, more of like a general just sort of discussion about it. So the background gameplay here is on Yas Marina with the Lotus E23. And look how terrible I am. This is me trying to get the car moving. And so the only way I'm able to do that is by pumping the clutch maybe 10 or 15 times while starting the car. And it happens almost every time. I've been driving the clutch for 4 or 5 months now. And it happens every time I start the race with the Lotus, with the Audi R18, and with the Radical SR8. Happens every time. I can't not stall those cars, and it's very frustrating for me. So anyway, beside the point. So I want to talk about Forza 7's multiplayer. Multiplayer, in my opinion, is the thing that keeps the game going. I mean, it's almost not even an opinion, it's almost a fact, because careers and single players in games, can only take you so far. Even in the case of me going through these showcase events, I've probably put 50 hours into the showcase events and the career. So I could see, going for the achievement that I'm going for, which is completing all car divisions, all series, and all showcases. From my calculations, about 600 races, 625 races, somewhere in there, which is a lot of races. But that's not the norm. No, people aren't going to go for that. That achievement has like, 1% or something like that. So only 1 in 1,000 people do it. But the majority of time that people spend in the game is going to be in a multiplayer. A lot of, single player is fun, but it's only so fun. It's only fun for so long to race, by yourself. So the best part of the game for me, and really the only part, in this game, I'd say probably 85 to 90% of my time is in multiplayer. Now you will see me hit the car in front of me a few times and go deep a few times in this corner. I'm very comfortable driving 6 speeds, and it's very intuitive for me. And I just know by sound and just by how much I've been downshifting, kind of where I'm at. But since these cars are 8 speeds, so you see me do it again there. It's very, very difficult for me to downshift the appropriate amount of times. I end up taking corners in a gear too high. Like that one is a third. That should be a second gear corner. And I end up not slowing down enough, because normally I'm used to, if you downshift more than twice quickly in a 6-speed, you're going to slide sideways, and so I don't want that to happen. And so that's just what I'm used to, is like a double downshift. So for me to downshift, 5 times on those corners when I'm coming down those straights, that's just really hard for me to do. So anyway, I think that multiplayer is the whole reason that these games survive, and that's why a lot of these games don't do dedicated servers, is because once the game is done, then you can't play it anymore. So if you do, P2P or peer-to-peer hosting, it allows these games to have an incredible lifespan, and you can play these games for long after they're out. This game's been out for almost 2 years, and here I am, this isn't a particular multiplayer race, this one here, but, here you are racing in multiplayer 2 years later. So that's where the fun of the game comes from. So I'm sure there'll be multiplayer hoppers, as usual. I'm sure they'll have many different classes. One of the ones I like a lot, that I race a bunch on here, and even on Forza 5 for a little bit, that I thought were kind of fun, were the ABCs. So it's A, B, and C class, and S class. And then basically each race, it randomly chooses who's going to go where. So it's a multi-class race, and you kind of rotate through, and it's fun to sort of avoid different people who are slower and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a little better there. But basically the next time around, these next little bit of the lap, I just start banging down the gears just real quick, just just drop 4 real quick. So those are fun. I'm not really much for like the tag games or the virus games, where you like ram people and stuff like that. But those I'm sure those will be in there. Those have their own thing. One thing that I do miss that they did on Forza 5 that to my knowledge, they didn't do on Forza 6, which I thought was unbelievably fun on Forza 5, was they had these limited time events. So there was like they did the Indianapolis 500 in honor of the Indianapolis 500, where you actually did 500 miles in Indianapolis. So me and my friend Killer Spoon did that, and we did 225 laps of the Indianapolis Oval in Indy cars, which totally changed my whole perspective on racing. Knowing how you're gonna have to pass people in like 2 laps. You're like, you're behind a guy, and you're like, oh well, I'm gonna pass that guy in 2-3 laps. And the drafting, And just like the overall fun of that and the strategy of the pit stops and stuff was really fun for me. They did a limited time Spa event, which was like 125 miles on Spa. They did one on Silverstone. And a lot of these races had full simulation damage, which was really sick. So if your tires would wear and you'd run out of fuel. I mean, the fuel in this game, you don't really run out. Your tires will go long before your fuel goes, unless I'm sure there's some specific classes where that's not true, but at least in the X class, like we were doing, your tires would be gone before you even had half a tank. And so anyway, so that'd be fun if they put that kind of stuff in there. But overall, I expect it to be very polished, and this is one of the games that plays really smooth online. You don't really have any frame rate dips or anything like that. Occasionally, in certain parts and certain tracks, like certain specific spots, for whatever reason, the game has a little more trouble. See, that one was a much better one. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be stable. It's going to be solid. I expect full 24, cars in a lobby. One of the cool things they talk about, and I've mentioned this a few times, but instead of a lobby, there'll be a like a screen where you're sitting with your car and you're sort of like leaning on your car, kind of a thing. So you can see other people's avatars. You can see what they're wearing, which will in a way allow you to see their achievements and stuff in the game. Because obviously, if they have rare driver gear, they're going to want to wear it to show off what they've accomplished and stuff. So that'll be fun. And even with that in the career, even with the fact that you can go through and play it multiple times and potentially unlock other driver gear or rare driver gear, I can't imagine that the career would be more than, like, say, 100 hours, which is a pretty long career. I mean, that's way longer than the career in most other games, but I'm certain it won't be that long. But I mean, you might be able to get 100 hours worth of playability out of it. I'm saying, like, might be able to play through it once or twice or 3 times and still unlock more new stuff. But I think ultimately people will come back to the multiplayer, and that's what'll make the game great. One thing I'm very concerned about, any of you who play Forza 6 or any of you who read the Forza 6 forums or both or whatever know that the trolling on Forza has really gotten out of control. The ramming and the hitting has really gotten out of control. It's gotten to, in my opinion, a breaking point, which is why I actually stopped playing the multiplayer and why I started racing showcase events. On top of trying to get some achievements, it reached a breaking point for me. It's no hyperbole or exaggeration to say that every single race you get crashed. Every single race there's a crash on the first corner or before, which is really dumb because you're going in a straight line and there's just a pile up every race, and it's just really gotten old. And more important than that, though, there are people in every, probably 2 or 3 out of 5 races. There are people who their only goal in the race is to hit other people. They're not racing, they're just hitting other people, and they're waiting. They're waiting a lap, 2 laps, they're just sitting at a spot in the track and waiting so that they can start driving alongside the other people, become unghosted, and take them out. And it's really just gotten to a point where that's ruined the game. And unless something's done to fix that, I don't know that many people will play it online, at least not relative to how many would play it otherwise. And Turn 10 has said there's going to be some sort of adjudication system where they can penalize people for stuff, but honestly, it's not hopeful at all. From everything I've read and researched, it doesn't seem like it's going to be in the multiplayer. It seems like it's going to be in the league racing only. And then also, people who are ramming don't care about their lap times. They don't care about grids or finishing positions or anything like that. So it's not going to impact them. They're not going to, they're not going to be, they're not going to feel bad for what they've done, and they're going to continue to do it. So hopefully there's something that can be done about that. But honestly, it's a trend across all games that we've seen, and really across life in general that we've seen. And it's really a messed up trend, and I hope it reverses itself. So thank you guys for checking out my stuff. Sorry again that I haven't uploaded for a few days. I had a lot going on, and but I'm back to my regular schedule now. So make sure you guys check back soon. Hopefully I have more stuff coming soon, more content, more news. Hopefully it's 2 days, man.